Today we're going to continue with the Bargain Bead Box projects from the month of November 2020. In part 1, I opened the box and made a tassel project with a little macrame stitch. In this one, I'm going to show you how to make this necklace. Now it looks a lot better on the neck model, but this is the necklace we're going to make, and I have included a photo with this necklace on the neck model from in the very beginning of the video, and there will be one in the end so you can see what it looks like. But this is what we're going to make. I have made several projects out of this box, and you will get one video after the other. I think there's going to be 4 videos. This is project number 2. Let's go ahead and get started. So I was playing around a little bit. I want to make a design where I can utilize these tassels as dangles. And I've got these components that I got from Shirley at Budget Bead Box, which is a really good partner to get some components for this box. It's a different site, however, people seem to get confused. But I got these components. Now you could use, if you don't have these and you want to get some, you know where to get them, Budget Bead Box. But you could also use just a, excuse me, a great big jump ring like this, or even bigger, thicker jump ring like these, and or any connector you have will work just fine. These I got at Michael's, and they would work really good with this too. And they come in a package of different sizes, and they're nice, thick, big jump rings that you can just close really tightly, and they would work really good on this. Or like I said, you could use just one of the bigger jump rings you have. It's just going to be on a smaller scale, and you may have to work with that a little bit, maybe use a little bit different arrangement of beads. So you can still do this design, you may just have to change it up a little bit. And so I've got these nice connectors, and these are about a ½ inch, a little over a ½ inch in diameter. And then I found some of these pink fire polish type beads in my stash, and I believe they're an 8mm. I will check the size of that, but I found them in my stash, and they go really good with the pink and the tassel. So yeah, they're 8mm. And I thought I would hang them here. And probably add some chain and put them at different lengths. And then I wanted to just kind of put some dangles off the loops themselves. I may use some little tiny dangles to put around the front here too with these. So, and I'm using the melon beads, and I'm just going to kind of play with this, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing as I do it so that you can see, but this is a design in progress. So I decided I wanted to put a bead in between to connect the connectors. However, if I use a head pin, or excuse me, an eye pin, the loops are going to be too small. So I got out some 20 gauge wire, and my wire is a little bit different color than the components, but it's the only golden type wire I have that will work in 20 gauge. And I'm just making big loops so that they will connect. So all I've done is cut like a 2-inch piece of wire here, and then I just slide on my bead, or you can do one end without doing that, and then I put it in the center of the wire and bend one end over. Now that's, even though I want to make a big loop, that's going to be a little bit big, so I'm going to cut it down to about not quite an inch. And you can guess with your wires too, and how big you want your loop, because everyone might be using a different connector. So now that I have this, I'm just going to set my bead down, and I'm going to lay this L shape over my finger, and I'm going to get my round nose pliers, and I'm going to go towards the end here because I want a pretty good size loop, and I'm just going to start turning. After I've turned a hook, I'm going to change position of my hand by turning my wrist, and then just continue until I make a loop like this. And let me show you. And then I will pop my bead back on it. Let me see if it's the same size as this loop. Pretty much. So you could mark your pliers too where you're turning so that you know. You could also measure where you're cutting the length of your wire so you know, and just cut your all of your other wires so you don't waste any to that size. So let's see, maybe a little bit less than that. And so now I've put my bead on, I've bent it over, and this time I can't take the bead out or my bead won't be in there. Then I'm going to grab my round nose pliers, go towards the end here, and start to turn. Once I've got a hook all the way as far as I can go, I just turn my pliers over and just continue turning. And see how big my loop is. And if it's a little bit bigger than the other one, which it is, I can always trim a tiny bit off the inside here. And continue. So now I have a nice loop. And you can use your flat nose and your straight nose pliers to straighten them out. If they're turned funny, you can turn them just by placing your flat nose pliers and your chain nose pliers on either side of the hoop like this, and just turn it until they're both even like that. And I am going to continue since I have 7 loops out. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, I want a dead center, so it's got to be an uneven number. So if you want to make yours a different size, just make sure it's an uneven number. So I will need to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these, which I knew I didn't have to count, but I counted anyway. So I will make 7 of those, and then I will connect them to my connectors. And okay, so I've made my 6 connectors. So now all I have to do is just open up the connectors and put them onto the connectors. So I'm just going to grab one of the connectors I made, and I'm holding it flat in my hand, I'm just going to bend it up, straight up, just twist it up. And then I'm going to add or put on the round connector, and then I'm going to close it. Kind of a funny shape to deal with, but I'm going to see how well this is going to work. This should work okay. Yeah, that's going to work. So then I'll just open up this side and connect this just straight up. Always use a twisting motion. Don't pull your loops out of the round shape. Just a twisting motion. And then I'm going to just continue. I'll put this one on here, and this one on here, and just continue until I have all of them done. Okay, so I'm going to try to make a little dangle out of one of these and put it in the center. I think I'm going to just use a regular head pin. I've got a couple of 8/0 seed beads out, Toho, and I'm going to use one of those and drop this down. And then I'm just going to make a loop and see if I can put that loop through these 2 head pins, just to kind of hold everything the way that I have it positioned, because otherwise it'll just be in a circle. Of course, once I put my tassels on, it may weigh it down, but I'm still feeling as if maybe I should secure it. So I've put an 8/0 and my bead on here on this head pin, and I've bent it over the top of the bead, and then I'm just going to cut it down about an inch, not quite, maybe 3/4, ½ inch, something like that. And then I'm just going to make a loop about halfway down my pliers here, and that is a terrible cut. Let me cut that again. And let me roll this. And this is what I have, just like that. And then I'm just going to open this up. And this may be kind of tricky. Oops, I opened the wrong side. Oh, Gina. Okay, just like that. Let me straighten that back out because I just bent it all out of whack. like a lunatic. Okay, so let me get closer. And that's what I have. I'm going to open it, and then I'm going to see if I can actually manage to get these two jump rings on my connector into this loop. Let's see. It can be a little tricky, but I got it. Then I'm just going to hold this, and I'm going to try to close it. How about that? I did it. Okay, let's see if I can get everything to be all back into the right position here. And now you can see that that just brings everything together. So it's going to hold these two jump rings closer to the front, and now I have a V shape. Otherwise it would keep going into a circle because of course I just connected in a circle. But with them connected like this, it'll hold it together, and I don't have to worry about it coming apart or not having the shape that I want. And I have to apologize, you guys. I've been sick all week, and so I'm kind of an airhead, and I apologize, but I'm doing this. So let's see. Now I want to make some danglies, but I want to put these guys on here, and this would be a lot prettier without these, but I'm going to put these on here. And I think I want one to be short and one to be long, maybe about like this. Maybe, yeah, maybe about like this. So I can either use chain or I can use some jump rings and put a series of jump rings on here. I think it might be easier if I just use some chain, but then I want to hook, and I think I'm going to use jump rings, because then I want to hook onto these connections that I'm going to make on the jump rings. I want to put some little dangles. I might make some little dangles out of these and put them on the jump rings too, just to decorate it up, make it a little bit more feminine and cute. So, or we could use these weird things. No. Alright, so I'm going to put like 3 jump rings on this one and 6 jump rings on this one. I have this mix of jump rings that Shirley sent me from Budget Bead Box. She sends me all kinds of stuff. So no, she doesn't pay me to say this every time. It's just that I have a lot of stuff from her, and if there's just no reason not to use it. So if you like what I'm using, that's where you can get it. So I'm going to just kind of sort out a few. I think I want to use like 3-4 millimeter size, maybe 4 millimeter. I think those are 3. So I'm going to get a bunch of the 4 millimeter size out, and I'm going to connect 3 here and 6 here and see what I like. And I will come back and show you exactly. So all you have to do is open your jump rings and put them on there. I decided to use the 3 millimeter ones in my, or jump rings in my mix here. And I put 4 of them on. And then I have a 6 millimeter jump ring because I need to connect here. And I don't think the 3 millimeter is long enough, or what, big enough. Geez. Okay, so I'm just going to put this one on here, and so I've just connected the jump rings together. That's all I did. Open them and close them, just like I've shown you a million times in these videos. Open them side to side, and then we'll just slide on, and then we will close it by turning it back after twisting it open. Shake it a little bit, and now I have this one on. Now I think I am going to put 8 on this one, and then another 6 millimeter jump ring here. And now you can see how nice and open those jump rings are, so that I can hook other stuff to them and make this a little bit fancier. So I'm going to go ahead and make my other tassel with 8 3 millimeter jump rings and a 6 millimeter, and then hook it on here. Okay, so now you can see what this looks like. Now I want to make some of these little purple rondelles into little tiny dangles to hang on the chain. I don't know how many I'm going to make. You can make as many or as few as you like. I have these little ball head pins. They're nice and thin and easy to work with, and they'll go right on this little rondelle. I'm going to have to waste a lot of it, but it's all right. I'm going to bend this over, and now you can make them closed or you can make them just open little links. I'm going to try to just make an open link and see how well that works. If I can just open them and shove them on to these jump rings, or you can make them closed and put a tiny little jump ring on there and hook it to the existing jump ring. Let's see how this works though. So I've tried to fold it over the top, but it's kind of difficult because the bead is so small. So I am going to remove some of this stuff so you can see what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this. I don't need it very big because these are going to be small links. I'm going to cut this down just like that. Grab my round nose pliers and bring it around. I ordered a one-step looper too because I'm getting tired of looping. So once I get that, I'll show you guys if I like it and how to use it and all that. So it would be a lot easier for us to do these things. So that's what that looks like. Just like this. And so all I did was just roll it over. And we'll just make a bunch of those. Let me make sure I was in camera on that one. I'm either too close, too far. You know, it's just the way it is. So then I put this on just like that. Cut it down. Well, first let's bend it over the bead. See if we can just bend it straight over that bead a little bit closer. Like this. Cut it down a little bit. And then just take it towards the front of my pliers here, where it's small. Go to the very end and just roll a loop. Change positions after you've rolled as far as you can, and then just roll it, completing the turn all the way around, just like that. And straighten it out, and that's what you have. These don't have to be perfect because they're just going to be a cute little bobbly dangle. And I like this one better than this one because this one is kind of floating around on here. So I'll probably, to fix this, I will probably open this up just a little bit, cut it down just a tiny bit. And that's just because I didn't get my bend as close to the and I'll just close it back down again, move this side over, and close it down. And see if I can actually get it fixed. So, nah, it's still moving around on there, but that's okay. So anyway, that's what those look like, and I hope I was actually in camera. Let's make a whole bunch of those, and then we're just going to open them up and put them on these jump rings, just like this. Let me just show you how to do that so that I can do all that off camera and come back and show you how pretty it is. So I'm just going to grab onto this. This is the side that's open, and I'm going to twist it open. And then I'm just going to grab one of my jump rings and put it on there, and then close it. And you can put as many on there as you'd like. You can put a couple per jump ring. You can put one per jump ring. I'm going to probably put 2 per jump ring, see what happens. I'll put one on this side of this jump ring and one on this. I'll just put as many on there as I feel like I need, and then I will come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, so this probably looks like a jumbled up mess to you, but I have made a couple of little design changes. So what I did was I took my tassels off because it's very difficult to try to put all your dangles and everything on while it's attached to the necklace. So I took them off. I added 2 more 3mm jump rings on the long one. So it's 10 3mm jump rings, and then I put my 6mm on. And then I just put a bunch of little rondelles. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 little rondelles. And then I used 2 of my bigger pink beads towards the top, and then 1 purple. and then I just set it aside. And then with my short one, I took off 2 jump rings, so I only have 2 3mm jump rings on it and the 6mm jump ring. And what I did with that, let me pull this 6 up here, is on the loop itself for the tassel, I put on a purple one. The loop right above that, the jump ring right above it, I put a pink one. And then I put a purple one on the other side of that jump ring. And then I put a purple one on the next jump ring. And then on the 6mm jump ring, I put a purple one. So I'm just kind of making sure that there's one on each side of the jump rings, kind of alternating them back and forth so they hang a little better. I'm going to leave those off for now and move them aside. We will attach them last because it's just really difficult to work with those tassels all over the place. Now, what I want to show you is I am going to put a couple of dangles on each loop. So I'm going to put a purple one and a melon one. We're going to attach them with a couple jump rings. So let me show you how we're going to do this. First, with the melon bead, I picked up an 8/0 seed bead, and then the melon bead, and then one of these little bead caps. And these little bead caps have a lot of holes in them, so make sure you get the middle hole and pop it down like this. And then just bend it over the top of the bead, the head pin, just like this. And we're just going to make the same kind of loop we've been making. So I'm just going to cut this, probably about ½ inch length. Oops, that flew. I tried to stop it. And then I'm going to pick up my round nose pliers, and I'm just going to go to the very end and probably just a little ways down on my plier. I'm going to bend until I can't bend anymore. Then I'm going to bring my wrist around like this and then just bend some more. You can also just bring it around this way. However, you can get your loop to go around nice and tight. And these bead caps want to move a lot. So just bring a loop around, just like that. And then I'm going to make the little purple one. So I need a little longer eye pin for this because I wrap this one. So I just put the 8/0 seed bead on. I'm not going to mess with the bead cap. I'm just going to put on the bead. And then I'm going to grab my round nose pliers, and just a little ways down the plier, I am going to bend the wire over the top. And then I am going to move my wrist into that bend. So I just move my wrist away from me and then bring the rest of the wire over the top. As I bring it over the top, I will turn my wrist a little and keep pushing the wire until it comes down around the bottom of the plier, just like this. And then I will grab my flat nose pliers and hold on to the loop. This loop is a little bit big, so I'm going to fix it a little bit. And I'm going to hold on to it. And then I will grab my chain nose pliers and I will just start to turn. And this is kind of a thick head pin, so I'm just going to turn it gently so it doesn't get all weird. And then I will trim that off. Maybe. It's close to my bead and it's hard to get. Okay, get over there. Okay. That's a tough head pin. Okay, I got it. Alright, so after mangling it, then I can just squeeze this down. Can you tell I don't feel good? Because I can. My work is a little weird today. Okay, so now I have a little dangle. This one I made a little shorter, but they don't have to be exactly the same. They're going to be away from each other, so it doesn't really matter. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 6mm jump ring, and I am going to drop the melon bead on it, and then I'm going to close the, well, actually I'll leave it open. I'm going to just leave it open, set it down. I'm going to open up a 4mm jump ring, and I'm going to put my wrapped loop on it, and then I am going to close that jump ring. And then I will pick up the big jump ring on the melon bead and drop that down like this. So I've just dropped it on the big jump ring, and then I'll just connect this jump ring to the round connector and close it. And now I have a dangle, and I'll do that for each one of my connectors, and then we'll just put on our dangles, and we're going to put them on, or our tassels, and we're going to put them on a little bit differently than I originally put them on. So I'll come back and show you how to do that. We will also, at the very end, we will put 2 6mm jump rings. Let me just do this real quick. We'll get 2 of the 6mm jump rings here. Are they the same? Yes. And I will put 1 on each. I'll put 2 on each connector. So I'm going to put 2. Let me get this back so you can see what I'm doing. On my very last connector here, I'm going to put 2 6mm jump rings on here and close them. And then I'm going to connect 1 more 6mm jump ring. That's a kind of big one. So let me find another 6mm jump ring. So I'll open this, and then we will get our chain out. And we will drop the chain onto this. This is just going to stabilize and center our chain, since we have a big loop here. These 2 loops with 1 6mm loop between them with the chain on it will kind of help keep everything centered. So let me get you real close so you can see what I just did. So I connected 2 jump rings, and then I connected 1 jump ring, and I'll close those better. They're not closed very well. And then my chain. And then I will cut the length of chain I want. So after I get done here, I'll figure out how much chain I want, and I will cut it and put on a jump ring and my clasp on the very end here. And then I'll just count the links, or of course you can cut them at the same time. I'm just doing it this way to show you. I will probably take it off and put the chain next to itself on a head pin and cut it the same length. So you want 2 pieces the same length, and then I'll put my clasping on with a jump ring. So that's how we'll do the end. I'm going to go ahead and finish this necklace, and then I'll come back, show you how to put on the dangles, and we'll be done. Okay, so I have made my necklace. I finished the back just like I showed you. I put the 2 jump rings and the 1 jump ring, the chain, and then a jump ring and my clasp on both sides, made sure they were even. I've made mine to be about a 19-inch necklace, 19, 20 inches, right around there. Now we're going to connect our tassel dangles here. So what I've decided to do is, instead of hooking both of these 6mm jump rings to this, it doesn't hang quite right. It just was driving me crazy. The tassels look messy anyway, and then you do that and it's even worse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the 6mm jump ring on this short one, and I'm going to attach it to the second jump ring on this one. So the 4mm under the 6mm, just make sure you don't tangle the two together. And let me get this closed really well. And let me get you closer, because I don't know if you can see what I'm doing or not. So I'm just hooking it to the second jump ring on the long one with the 6mm that I originally put on. Then I'm going to grab the 6mm of the long one, right here, come here, and you can see now they're both connected together. I'm going to hold them up and just see how I like my dangles. So I like the way they look, and then I'll put it on that way. So let's see, like this. Alright, so if I put that on there, that should look okay. So I am then going to just take that 6mm on the longer strand, and I'm going to just put it onto the connector here. And I've opened it and closed it a few times. It's all chewed up. I'll probably exchange that one, but for the purposes of the video, it's okay. Now, see, oh, I lost a little dangle. Where did I lose that? I bet you I know where I lost that little dangle. I probably lost him off of the 6mm here, so I'm going to put him back. And let's see, on this side, here, just make sure you get them closed pretty well, or they will fall off like that. And laying down, of course, it's not going to be nearly as pretty, but I will try to give you an idea. So let me arrange this, and then I will come back and there. That doesn't look too bad, actually. I'm quite surprised. This is just, I can be creative with most anything, but this was a challenging one. I'm just really not into cloth tassels. I like beaded tassels. I like leather tassels, all kinds of, but these little cloth ones, they just always look messy to me. But anyway, I think they turned out cute, and I showed it to my mom, and she really likes it. She loves tassels, and she doesn't care what they're made out of. And a lot of people do. It's quite a trend. So if you're a tassel lover, maybe, you know, you'll like this box a lot. But anyway, that is the second project.